And we're back for another week of the Kicking Tires podcast. This week has been a week of ups and downs. More positives for me. I know Alex is gonna go with his mainly negatives of game
Positives.
week things.
It's gonna be a loud
I'm only
episode.
there's a lot of
It's gonna be a
positives for
loud
me.
episode.
But we'll see what happens with Alex. But with that, welcome back to the Kicking Tires podcast. I'm your host, Shola Shole.
And I'm your other host, Alexander de Berardinas.
And in this episode, we got four games to go over since we're recording right after the Red Wings decide to lose against the New Jersey Devils. We have the Seattle game, the New York Islanders game, which I know Alex is going to go off on, the Columbus game where the Red Wings come back, and the Devils game, which poor officiating and just a hot Jacob Markstrom comes back and they steal one in Detroit. Um, and our second thing, we do our discussions. JT Comper, Alex has a lot to say about him this week.
He's the
Um,
Antichrist. Am I allowed to say that?
I don't know if you're allowed to say that, but hey, we'll see.
Whatever.
We'll
It's my
we'll go
show.
on. And Mort Sider, he seems to be back a little bit this week, playing well. Uh, John Gibson, I have a lot to say about him. And the Red Wings have been just being cursed with bad puck luck this week and throughout the season, but it's mainly this week. And at the end, you know what we do. Our week MVP and best moment. We'll see what we do. But yeah, starting off, Alex, you want to kick us off with the Seattle game?
Yeah. I mean, Seattle is probably the best performance of the week for the Red Wings. Like, you get people use the term full 60 minutes a lot. I think this is pretty much the embodiment of that. You get pretty much a rolling win the whole time. The first period was a little bit lackluster. Um, But it kind of really picked up in the second period after Nate Danielson scores his first career NHL goal off a Axel Sandin Pellikka shot, which was cool to see. Like, it was really nice to see Finney go grab the puck. Like, the rookies really coming together. And it looked like kind of lit a fire under his ass because like a minute later, he gets the puck. He dances Joey Decord and like tucks it behind the net for his second goal of the period. The LCA goes fucking nuts. And then it gets called back for like another 5-minute review. Emmett Finney was a hair offside. While normally I am a person who like believes in just get the call right, I believe that the rule of cool should come first and you give them that goal. Whatever. Who cares about the rules? But regardless, it was a good win from the Red Wings. The top line stayed hot. The Danielson Finney line looked good. Finney picks up his first goal in a while. It was good for him to get the monkey off the back. It was a good, feel-good win, convincing against the Seattle team that's been pretty good this year at forcing overtime and keeping games close. And then you went into Long Island for the second straight blowout to the Islanders. Now, I understand putting John Gibson in this game because Cam Talbot played the Islanders and he got lit up for 7. So while I was fine with Gibson going into the game, Jesus, oh my God, he's terrible. He's actually not an NHL goalie anymore. John Gibson gets absolutely lit up. The first period was one where I think the officiating was actually pretty poor. Again, I think that the Islanders were playing a really hard game that they kind of got away with a couple. But eventually the tables just kind of turned. And when every shot felt like it was going in, you could tell that Detroit had nothing underneath them. The Islanders started playing a 1-2-2, which is just, oh my God, that should be bannable. Patrick Waugh is an absolute loser, and he has been since the 90s. Fuck your 1-2-2. Stop playing defensive hockey. Again, rule of cool. Can we get a penalty again? Just boring penalty. Boring penalty against the Islanders franchise. They're so irritating to play against. I decide to watch paint dry, and Detroit kicks a 5-0. I have nothing to say about that game. I have way more to say about this Devils game that we're gonna get into. We'll get through the Columbus one. Obviously, we go in order, but the Devils one is gonna be the louder one.
Yeah, no, I'll let you cook on that one. A couple of days later after that, horrible loss. Horrible loss to the Islanders. We move on to Columbus. I think we were back at home. Yeah, we were back at home for this. Um, the Red Wings actually get outplayed to start the game in the first period. They go down to an early goal, and then the Blue Jackets score again off of a 5-on-3. I don't even know. I didn't see what the penalties were to like get led to a 5-on-3, but like I saw a 5-on-3, I saw a goal happen. I was like, okay, this is going to happen. Then they get but then the comeback starts, and there's positives with this game. Lucas Raymond, I think he played pretty well this game. He got us started off with the first goal to kick us back off. And then we go into the third period where the Blue Jackets end up scoring again to make it 3-1. And now the real comeback starts. We get a goal from Ben Sherratt, one of the least likely players that you would see score a goal, and it was a good goal at that. He slapped it into the top corner, and then a couple minutes later, we see Mo Sider get a goal. Two defensemen get a goal to put us back into this game, leading into overtime and in OT. There was one man who I thought who would score in OT if the game goes to OT. Well, there's a couple, but there's one man who I know would probably score in OT if he gets to OT, and that's Alex DeBrincat, who puts it away off of a near post finish. It was pretty good. Went past the goalkeeper, top corner, and the LCA went wild. It was one of the best finishes I've ever seen. It was great. I love to see it. And then today, we're recording at 10 p.m. at night today.
Yeah.
The game just ended, Alex. Let's kick it off. What we got in this game?
Yeah, I'll give some first. I just do want to credit Cat. That was an absolutely beautiful shot. It is a real challenge to produce offense when you're playing around JT Comp for a whole game. So I do want to give credit to Cat and Kane for making it happen. Obviously, they lead to the Ben Sherratt goal. JT Comfort does nothing on the ice. I think it's just time to put Nate Danielson on that second line. Like, I don't know what you run the risk of doing. We'll get into that more when we talk about the lines in general discussion. There's this New Jersey game. I'm not like particularly mad about the score. The first period was one of those ones where like pucks just kind of it, you get a couple bad bounces. It leads to like a well played 3-on-2 by New Jersey. Like Nico Heischer has a great period. Like whatever. You go down 3-1. They're still probably the better team in the first, but they're really the better team in the second. A really unlucky goal that Connor Brown just gets like a stupid like bounce behind the net. Talbot's out of position. Whatever. The third period of this game is when like shit started to hit the fan. There was multiple penalties that should have been called. Finney gets elbowed in the head. There was a couple aired high stakes. There were some hooks and holds that you could tell. Even Ken Daniels was pointing it out on the broadcast. And it comes to a head with maybe 5 minutes left. Detroit's down one goal. And Siegenthaler, for no fucking reason, in the middle of the ice, full hit on Lucas Raymond. This was not a shove. This was a proper finish on Lucas Raymond. He goes down. No penalty called. The most textbook definition of interference you could find. I don't know what the fuck it is with the officiating this year, but it's been like, it's hard not to feel cheated as a Red Wings fan. Like, even in the Columbus game, the goal that goes in that they challenged, you probably could have got that back. Like, he does clip the glove, whatever. Patrick Kane gets interfered with. He goes down hard. The lightest player in the league, Patrick Kane, goes down hard because he got interfered with, and they call it embellishment. Sider's gotten shitty penalties. Edvinson gets called like 3 times a game. He's been out this week, which we'll talk about. Like, it genuinely feels like just the odds are stacked against the Red Wings. Going into a late game, a power play would do a ton to turn the table. And if you're like a hockey fan, you think that's a borderline finable fucking hit for no reason. You see Lucas Raymond, who has absolutely been dancing everybody on New Jersey tonight. He's been playing an incredible game, and he gets clipped in open ice with 5 minutes to go. Nothing from the officiating. They take a second to review it. I don't care that, like, I know how the NHL works. You can't give a penalty retrospectively. The second New Jersey breathes wrong on the next play, you give them 2 minutes as a IOU penalty. Like, that's a fucking ridiculous hit. I think Siegenthaler should get, like, I don't know what you say to that. Like, genuinely, there needs to be something said. Or at the very least, next time Detroit sees New Jersey, you call Boston Watson and someone's going belt to ass. An unbelievable game. Detroit continues a over a year-long trend now where they have not yet forced overtime with the empty net. They get a couple decent looks, but ultimately Jacob Markstrom plays probably his best game of the season, which of course he would. Detroit now has the 30th PDO in the NHL. For those of you who don't know, that's just shooting percentage plus save percentage, which is essentially your luck factor. So Detroit, a lot of it does come down to their shooting percentage, which is now second worst in the NHL. This team has a serious finishing issue, and it doesn't help that they're not getting saves. I think Cam Talbot played an okay game the first period. He got kind of put under siege a little bit, but ultimately he bounced back fine for the rest of the game. I think he kept them in it. It wasn't his best game, but far from a Gibson game where you're just like, well, this game is over. They played well. I think he made a big save towards the end. Obviously, if this team could ever score with the goalie pulled, it would go a long way. They just haven't in legitimately over a year. Um, so, it's one of those ones that you kind of roll your eyes at, but it does need to improve. It's a weird part of the game, 6-on-5, but again, just to see one of those goals go in and get the extra point from tonight, it would keep you on top of the Atlantic Division, which I haven't checked yet, but I do believe they no longer are top of the Atlantic. And with the playoff race being this tight, you need every point. But yeah, it just came down to the shitty officiating with every single like hook, hold, slash, check, anything just would go uncalled. And there was so many chances for the refs to call the right thing. And that Raymond play was absolutely unfucking believable. Like genuinely, I don't know how Red Wings fans do not feel cheated by this officiating. It's been bad. I genuinely can't think of like penalties that Detroit has gotten as like compensatory ones too. Like you mentioned the 5-on-3 against Columbus. Like I get it, like puck over glass is a bitch. But like for the most part this season, it's just felt like it's unbelievable. Multiple embellishment penalties, and none of them have been good calls. Like it's genuinely been a really sloppy set of officiating this season for the Red Wings. And any fan who is mad about it, I think you're well within your rights. And this game was just that put on full display.
Yeah, it sucks. I've seen in the games that I have seen, I do wonder why the Red Wings get called, especially Simon Edmondson. That man gets called for way too many penalties that aren't even his fault. And I saw the Lucas Raymond hit today. I thought it got called a penalty, so I started watching the game a little bit later. When I heard it wasn't a penalty, that's insane because that's just textbook, like the most textbook penalty I've ever seen. And I just started watching this year. So for me to say that, like that's how you know it's a penalty. And like just seeing him on the floor complaining to Dylan Larkin on the bench, seeing he's gotta like push him away and the ref aren't calling anything, like it does suck to see that the Wings are getting a little cheated in this game and in other games during the season. Like you can say what's it called? The Blue Jackets game as well. Like there's a bunch of games during the season where it's like you see it and it's like how are we getting these calls but the other team aren't getting these calls? It's unbelievable. But it's early in the season or we're a quarter way through the season. We can only hope as Red Wings fans that the officiating gets a little bit better. But like again, at the end of the game where Talbot comes out on that 6-on-5. I see what you're saying. Like I think there should be like there were so many scoring opportunities for the Red Wings on that 6-on-5. Like Sider got a bunch of shots. Patrick Kane got a bunch of shots. Lucas Raymond was in open space. Like
Yeah,
I
the
think
Raymond
there's
one, I forget.
there's different opportunities for the Red Wings. Like they were winning every single face. Like Larkin was winning every single face off. Like Patrick Kane was behind it. Like there's so many different I think areas of space where they could exploit, but they didn't have the final like push to get that past the goalkeeper, and the goalkeeper had a wonderful game today. Like he
Yeah.
was insane, and that leads to the Red Wings being now second in the Atlantic Division behind the Lightning, unfortunately. But they're only a point behind. We got three more games this week. There's lots of time to capitalize, get back in it. They'll be okay. But it is sad to see that. Like to see the what the refs are doing to the Wings this season and how they couldn't capitalize this game. But there's more games to come.
I will say about that play in specific, and this is gonna get into our second segment, a bit more discussion. I will say this year's Red Wings team, like, I genuinely think just because of how mad Raymond was, that might light a bit of a fire to get them through this week because they do play Tampa Bay, which is a big game for standings implications. If they take the game from Tampa Bay, they're in a good spot. Like there's a 4 point swing essentially. You get a little bit of breathing room, um, but obviously these standings fluctuate so much week to week. They could be as low as a wild card spot tonight if the out of town scoreboard doesn't help out, which you'd hope it finally starts helping out at some point. But yeah, like just an unbelievable like the Siegenthaler, like that's not justifiable. Like that was ridiculous. And yeah, the 6-on-5 play is one of the things I was a bit more upset about last year because last year, like, they didn't get one throughout the whole season. This year they haven't actually been. It feels like a lot of the losses are blowout losses, and a lot of the times they've been winning games, so I haven't really been too mad about it. But holy shit, has it ever been really bad with these 6-on-5s? Like you just hope for 1 or 2 extra points by the end of the season, just with the late goal, and they just never seem to get it. It's unfortunate, but again, I think this team at least should have a fire under them from this game that hasn't been started by Todd McClellan. So getting into our second segment, a bit more discussion here. Let's talk about the absolute nothing burger on line two that is JT Comfer. I was watching this game over the weekend with my mom, and I made like a comment. I was like, Comfer might be the Antichrist. And she's like, yeah, you gonna put that in your show? Like, you can't say that. And I was like, watch me put that in my show. I was like, watch my rating. He just does like functionally nothing on the ice. Like, uh, it genuinely feels like Kane and DeBrincat are playing 5-on-4. Like, he doesn't score ever. He had a look in this game that I thought was decent, but he, of course, didn't finish. He's not particularly a good skater. He's okay defensively. He's like one of the worst centers in the draws. Like, he's certainly not better than Kopp, Larkin. I like when Rasmussen's playing, he's not better than Rasmussen, which is odd. Like, he doesn't really do much, and I don't think that there's a trade market for him because he makes way more money than he should. He's just, like, honestly, like, a player that kinda needs to be in the bottom 6 because, like, at least he can kinda match up okay there and give you some better minutes like he was at the start of the season with Copp and MBN. But, like, as of right now, I think you just need to put Nate Danielson as the 2C, like, at least see what that is. Last year, you had a rookie being Marco Casper step up to second line center and really get that going. Casper has just taken a nosedive this year. Like he just cannot seem to get on the scoreboard no matter what he does. Um, so because of that, I think you go Nate Danielson up high. But Comfort just, if there is any trade package for him, if there's any team desperate for a center, if the trade market, even for a millisecond, looks like they'd be interested in JT Comfort, you ship him out, you retain salary. It's addition by subtraction. He is just an absolute nothing burger on this team. Like, I know there are some people who might give his defensive play some credit, but at this point, like, you have Casper, you have Kopp, you have Appleton, you have plenty of good defensive forwards. You don't need JT Comfer, who's just hindering whatever line he's on. Like, I think the Kopp line, the fourth line, was one that I'll give myself a pat on the back. That's a line that I mocked for a while that I said I wanted to see. The Kopp JVR Bergeron line that looked really solid this game. They got a couple nice looks, and JVR flushes one in on the power play. But like, I genuinely think any of the other 4 centers on this team would do a better job than Comfer right now. So it's just a real shame that he still has to play the minutes he does because it is it is tiring to watch this guy. He just does nothing.
Yeah. Um, Speaking on JT Conqueror, I think like speaking of him from the beginning of the season, like there were times where I would say, okay, I want to see more of JT Conqueror because I thought he was playing pretty well. He's on 6 points this season. Like he's gotten a couple early goals and assists in the early part of the season. Um, but during these past couple of weeks, like in his past 5 games, he's done functionally nothing. Um, like the looks that he gets, he's not burying them. Like I hear what you're saying, like he doesn't really skate as hard or as well as the other people in his like he's on the second line. He's with the Brinken and Kane. Not the Brinken and Kane. He's with Casper and Kane, I think. Um, and he's not skating as well as those guys. Like you're seeing Nate Danielson skating harder than he is, and he came back from injury, and JT Confer's been playing the entire season. You're seeing Marco Casper playing better than he is. You're seeing like multiple rookies. You're seeing Emmett Finney playing better than him. I know Emmett Finney hasn't been on the score sheet in a while, but like he's a rookie. JT Confer's a veteran. You would expect him to have a little bit more confidence within himself to bury a couple more chances that he's gotten. And like in the game against the Devils today, like he's had what he got 3 shots on goal. He didn't bury any of them. Like he's probably had around 20 shots on goal in his past 5 games, maybe less than that, probably 15. But like you can't like there's really functionally nothing well that he does that is good enough for you to keep him on the second line. And I agree with you. I do think Nate Danielson should come up to the second line, have a second line of, I think, Casper, Kane, and Danielson. I think that's what it would be.
It's still the
Um,
Brinket right now, but
all right,
Finney's
because
a
Finney's
little
back on the first, right?
yeah.
Yeah. So okay, so the Brinket, Kane, and Danielson, which is even better than when I said Casper, Kane, Danielson. I think that's a better second line. I think keeping the first line of either Larkin, DeBrinket, Raymond, or in Larkin, Raymond, and Finney works well. But I don't think you can have JT Comfort back on that first line. Sorry, on that top six. I don't think it works well. You seeing it's not working well. Like 2-2 in the week, they've really been in like some sort of a. They've calmed down after their strong starts to the season, and I feel like there's multiple different factors that goes into it. Whether it's poor officiating, whether it's poor goalkeeping, whether it's Michael Rasmussen, whether it's JT Comfort, whether it's whoever it is. Poor play, poor puck play, the bottom six scoring, whatever it is, and I think JT Comfort falls into that category of players and people and things that aren't working during the season. So I think bringing him down to that third, probably the third or the fourth
Yeah,
line,
third, I think.
bring Berggren up. Who knows? I don't know what they're gonna do, but I don't think you can keep him back on that top six.
Yeah, like I'm sorry. For a guy who's playing beside Patrick Kane or Alex DeBrincat, like he's getting offensive deployments as Patrick Kane would. The guy has 1 point in his last 14 games. Like he's unbelievably cold. Like him and Marco Casper are legitimately ice cold. Like it might be one of those things where you send them to the press box for a game and just let them watch, try to get their heads back. But like he's unbelievably cold, and it's just time. You go with the new blood a little bit. Like Nate Danielson's had a pretty decent week, um, and I know that he's been piss poor on the faceoffs, but like it's also his like eighth game in the NHL. Like he's not going to be winning draws yet. So I don't know what you need to do there, but I think either go back to Casper and hope Casper can kind of keep it going, or try Danielson and hope that he can work on his faceoff game. But it has been an absolute slog fest with Comfer out there. But to contrast that, I mean, somebody's had a great week. Moritz Seider is a guy that I was on a little bit last week and more than 2 weeks ago, saying like every number one defenseman in the NHL can defend. You got to put up some points. Mo Seider has, and he's done it at even strength. Like he's been really, really good. 5 points in the 4 games this week. Red hot. I believe he has like 8 in his last 6, 9 in his last 7. So Moritz Seider has been absolutely on fire, doing it at 5-on-5. He's come up with some goals. He's been putting the pucks to the right area. He's finally shooting more. It's exactly what you want to see from Mo Seider, and I'm more than happy to retract some of the anti-offense comments I made about him. He got a spot back on that top power play. Um, I'm indifferent about that. I think he was honestly playing better on the second unit, but the second unit with ASP is the one that got the goal today, so I'm not going to knock him too hard. But yeah, like Moritz Seider definitely got the offense going. I think defensively he's had a better week too. Like this game, he had a beautiful play shutting down a 2-on-1 and angling. I don't remember who it was. Angling the Devil player to the side a lot and taking out the pass completely. He's been a lot better. The physicality is there, and he's doing it without his buddy Simon Edvinson, which calls the question maybe you should split those two up if he's playing this well away from him. But that's neither here nor there. Like, just a great 2 games from Moritz Seider, 4 points in the last two. Just really fun to watch, and he's really got that offense going, which is nothing but good news for Red Wings fans. And he's not using the power play to do it, right? Like, you can still put ASP out there, and it's a big win from him.
Yeah, the two I don't like we put in the in our notes today, is Sutter back? I like he could be back. There's obviously more that I want to see from him, on especially on the top power play. But 5 points in 4 games is something to be proud of, honestly. Um, after I don't know if it was last week or 2 weeks ago. We probably talked about it both weeks on how Mo Sider has been like, oh, should he still be on the top power play? Is his offense struggling and all that? But we see it in the past, like, well, the 4 games. We don't really count. I'm not going to count the Islanders game. No one played well in that game. But like you see that he got 2 assists today. He got, I think, yeah, a goal and assist against the Blue Jackets, and then a goal, right? No, an assist against Seattle. Like you're seeing like 2 goals, 3 assists this week. You're seeing the offensive capabilities from Mo Sider, and that's what you need. And again, like you said, he's doing it at even strength, which is something that I don't think we've seen that much from him this season. He's really done it on the power play a little bit in the beginning of the season, and then he's struggled a little bit now. So like seeing what he's doing now is positive, and you can hope that he translate his even strength game to the power play, because now you see he got his spot back. You think he's battling with ASP for that top spot in the power play. You can see that if he can continue the way he's going, like he's battling on defense. We know how good Mo Sider is on defense. Probably one of, if not the best defenseman on this team. And like you're seeing what he can do on defense. You're asking the question, what can he do on offense? And you're seeing, okay, if he can do all this on defense, like, and he's doing what he's doing on an even strength, the sky's the limit for him on the power play. And I can see, and I hope he continues the way he does um on that power play in even strength, whatever he does. But yeah, he's been playing well this week. Now, before you go on, I need to talk about this because I hold this near and dear to my heart. I when I was first talking about players, I think it might have been in the first episode that I was talking about him, and that you were talking about it too. I was excited to see John Gibson play this season. However, in the past couple of weeks, you see, we talked about it last week. We talked about it. I see you ride the hot hand now. Cam Talbot has not had his best week by any means. So maybe we cursed him with that. But you put John Gibson in this game against the Islanders. I know the Islanders put 7 past Cam Talbot, but Cam Talbot has been on a high. So I don't like I get you want to put him to see if John Gibson will play better, but 5? 5? Really? Like, and there's some, like, again, like we go back to it. When you see John Gibson in goal, like 1 or 2 go in, you know the game's over. Because then he just lets his foot off the gas and more go in. I think I think John Gibson plays off of, like, I'm not trying to peer into his brain, but like I feel like the more saves and the more things he get, the more confidence he builds up. Once one goes in, his foot is off the gas and like it's over. Like there's something about it where it's like what like I don't even know what to say anymore. Like there's so many big games that the Red Wings have played over the past couple of weeks where you put John Gibson back after Cam Talbot's played a couple games, played pretty well. The Red Wings have been winning. You put John Gibson back because we're run on winning streak. Maybe the offense can do something, and then he lets in 3 or 4 or 5 goals, and then it's just over. And now they have to put Cam back in and he has to go back to the drawing board with John Gibson. So I don't know what you have to say to him. Like we said this last week. I don't know what you have to say to him to keep him to make him improve, but you're paying all this money to this guy and he's not being your number one. So I really don't know what to say about him anymore.
Yeah, it's been terrible. His goal saved above expected is negative 6.5, which means nearly 7 more goals went in than should have. And he has a preventable loss, which I didn't know it was a stat. I had to look it up. It is when the goal saved above expected exceeds the margin of defeat in the loss. He let in more goals than he was supposed to and basically single-handedly lost them the game. The preventable loss was Buffalo, where he exceeded a negative 2.54 goal saved above expected, and the margin of loss was 1. So again, like John Gibson has just been an absolute net negative for this team in pretty much every way. He has not had a start where his save percentage was over .9 since Las Vegas. He has had 4 consecutive games with a save percentage under .9, and 3 of those 4 have been under .82. He has just been absolutely unbelievably bad. Only one of those games that I mentioned does he have a slightly positive goal saved above expected, and all the other ones his goal saved above expected is a -2. He has just been an absolute black hole for this team, and this part's petty, but anytime he lets in a goal, he does some stupid smirk on the camera. It's like he's just clearly not in the right headspace for this. Only 33% of his starts have been quality starts. He has 4 really bad starts, which is the same amount as quality starts. He's yet to win a game in his last 4 appearances. He has just been. You talk about that luck factor and that, like, PDO, and we're going to talk about it in our little puck luck section, which is next. We're going to talk about why the Red Wings have been so unlucky. And part of that is just John Gibson has just been single-handedly letting pretty much everything go in. Like, he's just been an absolute terrible pickup for Detroit. And this is not one that I blame Steve Yzerman for. I know Red Wings fans have been quick to blame the pro scouting, but I think everyone and their mothers was happy when Detroit got John Gibson. Like, this is a guy who's been tried and true a little bit and is supposed to be like a legit number one NHL starter. And when he's out there, he's just been an absolute, like, you can't trust him. The team has no confidence in front of him. The team doesn't win in front of him. Like, it genuinely feels like he's lost every game. I'm going to hedge a bet that he's going to be out there against Nashville, because Nashville's the only team, when we're talking about puck luck, pretty much the only team that's been less lucky than Detroit. You're going to probably see Gibson out there also because you know that you need to rest Talbot. And if you're not, playing a world beater of a team, you don't need to run Talbot into the ground. If Gibson has a bad game against Nashville, if Detroit loses that game against Nashville, it's one thing if, they get goalied by Saros or something and they just can't score. They lose like 1-0 like they did in Vegas, whatever. Fine. If it's like another like 6-3 loss where the other team has like 22 shots, it might be time to seriously consider getting rid of Gibson or just carrying 3 goalies and letting Sebastian Cossa play, because there's only so much longer with the standings this close that you can hold on to this. And you mentioned it in the last episode. You're talking about like basically merit-based play. Casper plays bad, he's down in the lineup. Comfort plays decent, he's up in the lineup. I don't know who said that in the coaching staff, but whatever. Finney's kind of gets a little bit hotter. He scores a goal in Seattle, you put him back on the top line. DeBrincat doesn't get anything going against New York. He's down on the second line. This team has done merit-based offense for the forwards pretty much the entire year. A lot of it's been merit-based for defense. You know what I mean? Axel sending Pellica. You're playing well, you get the top power play. Moritz Seider struggling, you're off the top power play. The only person that they keep going back to is John Gibson. And they have not been afraid to call up a rookie to scare the veterans into playing well. Sebastian Cossa has been absolutely unfathomable right now in Grand Rapids. You see his pretty much rival in terms of one-to-one, Jesper Wallstedt out in Minnesota, who's off to a fucking torrid start to his NHL career. He looks fantastic. Him and Wallstedt have been compared pretty much their entire careers. They went a handful of picks away from each other. Detroit took Cossa first. He's broken into the NHL. I see no reason if Gibson has a bad start against Nashville that Kosa does not get to be on this team. Because for the record, you're carrying all these forwards. Who cares if you waive Rasmussen? No one's claiming him. You're fine. And if they do, you're lucky. You know what I mean? You can waive a lot of these guys. I promise you, it does not matter. Um, when Edvinson's healthy, you're going to send Gustafsson back down. You're not worried about that either. Like, you're carrying a handful of guys, but it's a bunch of guys who you're fine if they get taken because you're better off for it. I think Sebastian Costa's time is going to be very soon if Gibson gets lit up again. And if he has a good bounce back game against Nashville, I don't think it's enough for us to give him his flowers. I think he needs to string together 2 or 3 good performances before we can kind of be comfortable in Gibson again. But he has a matchup that he should win, assuming he's out there. But again, like I'd seriously, seriously bet on him being out there in Nashville. So that's one that he needs to pick up, and the Red Wings need to look good in.
Yes, he has some stuff to prove to me. Like looking through this week, if he does play against Nashville, he has a good game. He plays against Tampa, has a good game. I'll shut up a little bit, but he has to wow me for me to actually shut up. Like there's stuff that I'm seeing, there's stuff that I'm watching where it's just like I'll say like I remember in episodes prior to this, like in our first couple episodes, I was watching some of the games. Like I remember all I could say was good save John Gibson, not good save John Gibson. But now I don't know if I can say that anymore. There's definitely some times where he looks like he's going to have a great game, and then one goal gets let in, and bam, it's over for the rest of the game. So there's stuff that I need to see from that. It's like, okay, if he can improve in this, his positioning, his shot stopping in general, like I'll shut up a little bit. He'll have my flowers, but until then, he's been abysmal. And you know what? I agree with you. If he does have a bad game against Nashville, if he plays, or he has a bad game against Tampa, if he plays, there might be time. It might be Sebastian Costa time. I think I talked about him a little bit in the first episode when we were doing our little preseason rosters, and I was like, okay, if he wasn't a rookie, maybe he'd be on this team. But there was no way he was going to be on this team with having Talbot and Gibson, the two people you'd want as your 1 and 2. Um, but if your number one is playing pretty bad, you might have to bring him. You might have to play three and you just rotate them to see who's hot and who's not. And I hope, really, please, the coaching staff, please go back to the you ride the hot hand, please. Like you said it a little earlier, like you brought Marco Casper down because he was playing bad. You brought JT Confer up because of his good start to the season. Now he's playing horribly. Please bring him down. Um, like you're seeing John Gibson the way he plays. Like I think his record just keeps getting worse. I think he's 4-7-1 now, something like that. And Talbot still has a positive record, even though he's played pretty poorly this week. Um, like there's stuff with him where it's just there's it's got to change and you just got to ride Talbot until he actually starts to decline. I know you got to rest him in some games, and uh, on Wednesday that might be the case, but there's got to be there's got to be certain situations where you actually have to ride Talbot and just be like, okay, he's our guy for now until Gibson can figure it out. Now, final thing we got to talk about before we move on to week MVP. Um, the Wings. This has happened throughout the season and especially this week. The puck luck, man, it's bad out there. Whether it's deflections, whether it's not receiving the puck on a fast break well. I saw a play, I don't know which team it was against, where I think Lucas Raymond and Alex Brinket had a 2-on-1. DeBrinket plays. Oh, sorry, Raymond plays the puck to DeBrinket, and DeBrinket just loses it. So there's just like
Yeah.
there's bad puck luck on offense and on defense, mainly on defense, because the amount of deflections that have gotten off of opposing players that have gotten in is unbelievable. Like it's actually bad. So, Alex, what are you seeing with this puck luck over here?
Yeah, so I mean, I mentioned PDO like explicitly. I brought it up a couple times throughout the show, and just to stress how bad it is, Detroit is only above Nashville and Edmonton, who are off to cold starts. And it functionally means they're not getting a save and they're not getting a goal. If you don't believe that they're not getting a goal, the worst shooting percentage in the league is 6.99. Detroit has a 7.2, which puts them second last. If you want to contrast with one of the teams that's kind of chasing them in the standings, Montreal is right there. Montreal is shooting the puck at 11%. Tampa Bay shoots it at 10.6. If you want to look at their PDOs, their luck factor, Tampa Bay is 11th and Montreal is 14th. Detroit is fighting an uphill battle here. And it's one of those things where when you see this, you're kind of like, well, Detroit's due for some positive regression. You know what I mean? Like the luck is going to balance out. Detroit is supposed to have scored 13 more goals than they have. Like, you know what I mean? And that's not nothing. Like, if you distribute 13 goals to these games at any point, you know what I mean? Detroit gets an extra goal here. You know, they win the game or they at least get the extra point out of New Jersey. You know, you add an extra goal in whatever game. You could add all 13 goals to the two blowout losses against the Islanders, and Detroit would pick up points in at least one, depending on how you distribute them. Detroit has had pretty terrible puck luck this year, and it's hard to say why. Like, they have the high tier finishers. Like, Dylan Larkin is shooting amazing. He's at like 16% this year. The Snakes clamped down on him, though. He's hitting a couple crossbars. He gets the goal in New Jersey, which hopefully will kind of get the monkey off the back a little bit. But man, is he rung iron a couple times. Like, he rang iron against the Islanders. He rang one earlier in this game against the Devils. You'd hope that that continues. Obviously, DeBrincat started ice cold, but he's kind of found the back of the net. Lucas Raymond will score when he's supposed to, kind of thing. Like, he's not like a world beater right now of a shooter, but he gets his. Past that, like, it's the guys like JT Comfort, Marco Casper, like I want to say Andrew Cobb, but he doesn't like actually really get looks. Like Andrew Cobb, like all those kind of guys. That's where this terrible shooting percentage is coming from. Like, and I get it. There are times in the games where it's a huge save. Like, especially in this game, like Dylan Larkin got robbed a couple times. Like, I get it. You know what I mean? Like, sometimes the goalie just comes up with a big save. That's part of PDO. But man, oh man, could they use just a little bit more luck somewhere. Like, even with the penalties, like get a couple more calls to go your way, get a couple more shots to fall over the course of a season, even over the course of these 20 games. Like, even if, I know 13 goals is bold, but even if you get 7 of those goals, like you probably have, 1 or 2 more points and you're a little bit more comfortable in the Atlantic. It's a good sign that they're this good with their luck being this bad, but you kind of have to manufacture your own luck at a certain point. And I'm not saying they haven't. Like, Emmett Finney has crashed the net, but then he just can't bury the puck. Like, he gets his looks, he just doesn't finish. It's paradoxical how bad they've been at just kind of getting that extra shot to fall or getting that extra save. Again, a lot of that comes down to them having the worst goaltending in the NHL right now. That's not a hot take. Their team save percentage is functionally the worst in hockey right now. Like, if you look at, the bottom of the goal saved above expected list, John Gibson is ninth worst. And this doesn't use the same thing that Dobber Hockey uses. This is John Gibson's goal saved above expected is -4. The other one's a -6. And Cam Talbot, he's actually been pretty good. He's turned it around a lot, but he was worse. He's at a +4, which is nice to see. Detroit's goalie room has been just terrible. And, again, one of those two things need to pick up. And I would hope it's the goaltending because I think you can get by with this offense. I think it is a little bit top heavy, but they've kind of proven like Lucas Raymond. There's been a couple nights this week where your jaw is just hanging open. Like, he'll make a between the legs backward pass to some guy's tape and then he'll like ring it wide and you're like, what the fuck? And, like, you're genuinely seeing like superstar steps out of Lucas Raymond. So you're more than content with that. And I think you can get by with this forward group. You can't get by with this goaltending. So again, any regression to the mean, I think, would go a long way for the Red Wings. And the bad luck has just been the story of their season so far.
It's there's just stuff with the offense, like you're saying, like all these guys. Like I just watched um the highlights back from all the games. That's what I do before each episode. And like there was, I think it was in the Seattle game where there was about six chances that Emmett Finney had to score a goal, and like he couldn't bury any of them. So there's such poor, and you like you're saying, oh yeah, like so we're saying ride the hot hand, but there really is no hot hand except for that top line of well the the top line that was Alex DeBrincat, Lucas Raymond, and Dylan Larkin. Like those three, plus I guess you can say Emmett Finney, um, and you can really say Mo Sider. Like those guys are the only people who are really burying as much, and like the luck that they get, like the amount of shots they outshot. I think they outshot probably 80% of the games that they played, like their opponents 80% of the time. Like they're getting like even in the game against I think the game today against the Devils, like they outshot them 36 or 36-19. I don't think the Devils had over 20 shots
Yeah,
and
it
they
was
still lost the game.
35-19.
Yeah, 35-19. They outshot the Devils that much and still lost the game. So there's that many opportunities that you get that you have to capitalize it on it. And you like you're saying, oh, the 13 goals. If you add up those 13 goals, they lost 7-2 against the Islanders the first time. They lost 5-0 this time. You distribute 7 goals to that for that 7-2 loss, and you distribute 6 goals to the 5-0 loss, that's 4 points right there. Like that's
Yeah,
four extra points that you have right there.
that's not
Obviously,
even
you
accounting
wouldn't
for
distribute them.
positive. Like some
Like
teams, you are allowed to score more than you're supposed to. Like that's not even like it's not even accounting for the teams that score more than they're supposed to.
it's just it's getting to a point where it's like, and I see it too. Like there's a bunch of fast breaks that the Red Wings get that they can't capitalize on. There's a bunch of power plays that the Red Wings get that they can't capitalize on. And there's just a bunch of full strength moments, the 6-on-5s, regular full strength moments where it's just like you're seeing the amount of shot opportunities and the amount of shots that they're taking, and you're expecting this to happen, but it's not. So what you're saying, you really have to make your own. I know it's very much luck based, but it's not really luck based. You really have to just you have to make your own luck at this point. Um, like the season is starting to get into full swing. The season is in full swing. We
Yeah,
played how many games? More than
21
20, I
now,
think.
22
Yeah, 22 games.
ballpark.
Like you're already 20, like 30% into the season. You're shooting practically the worst in the league. Your goalkeeping is practically, if not the worst in the league. So there's a bunch of little things and big things here and there that you just have to like change, that the coaching staff have to take into account. And honestly, like there's nothing else more you can really say about that topic. It's just that the the people who you know can score have to score, and the people who and John Gibson, especially John Gibson, Cam Talbot as well, have to stop that puck. It's too many. It's too much that they're letting in. Even in the games that they win, they don't win by a lot.
Yeah,
Like in recent weeks, the games that they won, I don't. They haven't really kept like the other team scoreless.
yeah.
Actually, they haven't kept the team scoreless this month.
Well, I
This
don't think they have a
entire
shutout
month,
all
they
year.
haven't let.
Yeah, they're not a shutout
Yeah,
all year.
they haven't.
But like,
Yeah, you
they're not even
see,
winning games by a big margin. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I don't. There's been very few games where it's just like a convincing performance. And again, not to beat up on Nashville, but you are going into effectively one of the worst three teams in the NHL right now, maybe bottom five. That's a game where, you should have a fire under your ass. Don't play down to your competition. Really go out there and kind of see that positive regression. You know what I mean? Like regress to the mean in a good way and have your shooting percentage go up a couple percent in a good way. And, hopefully your goaltending again bounces back, two positives, and you can be back in the win column sooner rather than later. And, stringing together a good week here, even a win against Tampa. If you take the next two games you have, that's huge for you. And hopefully you can get back to the top of the division. Um, with all that, we're going to finally kick it off with our weekly MVPs and our moment of the week before we wrap up the show finally. I'll go first. My MVP this week, I've been talking about it. It's Mo Sider. I mean, I think he's stepped back uh, to form offensively. He's kind of found his game again. He's flirting with 60-point pace, which is big. It would be a career high for him. And defensively, he's looked good. Simon Edmondson is injured. We've touched upon it. It's just a sickness, though. It's not really like an injury. So nothing really to worry about there. Like, obviously, it sucks that he's gone. You'd love him in a game like this. But he'll be back sooner rather than later. Like, it's not a huge deal. As long as it's not like a real injury, you're not going to complain too much about it. But he's been doing it with, a rotating cast. Bernard Docker was on his pair one game, and like that's two right sides playing together. You've had Ben Sherrod up there. You've had Johansson up there. Rotating door, no stability. Moritz Seider still found a way to keep the offense going and really slow things down defensively. It's been a really good year for him. And defensively, we've sang his praises, but offensively, I'm really happy to say he's been on the score sheet because, truth be told, this team needs offense more than anything. And for my moment of the week, there were a couple I could have gone with. There's there was a big milestone moment. But I'm gonna give it to Alex DeBrincat. I don't know if Dylan Larkin's 600. If Dylan Larkin's 600 points happened this week, which I'm pretty sure it happened against Seattle, I'll give it to Dylan Larkin's 600th career point because I've seen him like my entire life basically. Since I started watching Detroit, he's been there. Really cool to see. Good for him. Hopefully this year is a career year for him, and it looks like he's on pace to be. And hopefully we can get him back in the playoffs. Really cool to see. But if not that, it's that Alex DeBrincat nip coming down the short side to close off the comeback. Great for Alex DeBrincat, and he wants to be on Team USA. He said in an interview, and he's like legitimately like the fourth most points by an American-born player, and he's not even in consideration. Which I get it. He's 5'8", but he plays like an absolute dog out there. So can't measure heart in inches, and Cat continues to prove that for this Detroit Red Wings team.
Yeah. I agree with everything you said. Now, my MVP and best win are both different. However, I do want to shout out at the Brick Goal. That was nice to see. Um, I was debating at the beginning of the episode before we started recording who I should give it to. So I'm going to give it to both the players I mentioned. I'm going to give it to Lucas Raymond. I think he's still continuing to play as well as he has. He got a goal this week that started the comeback for the Red Wings. And I think he's had 4 points this week. So that's one of them. And my guy, Nate Danielson, I'm gonna give him my second MVP of the week. 3 points, two in the Kraken game, and then one against the Blue Jackets, I think. Seeing him develop, he's only played a handful of games this season. He came back a couple weeks ago from injury. You brought him up. He didn't perform the first couple games, but you expect that out of a rookie who's coming back from injury, and now he's here. It's Nate Danielson time, and you got to ride him on that second line. And yeah, like there's really nothing else I can say about him. He's played great this week. And speaking of Nate Danielson, he's also going to get my um best moment this week. I'm going to give it to both his goals. The first goal, very much luck based. That shit went off his foot. That should not even have been his goal. It was an ASP goal, but they counted it for him, which is all that matters. But that second goal, my God, that second goal would have been lovely to see if Emmett Finney decided he wanted to be onside. But he was offside, so it ultimately didn't count. Um, but it's all good. He got his goal, he got his assist, he got multiple assists. So hope he continues it. He's been playing well this season. And yeah, that's an episode for us.
Yeah, there you
It's
go.
been pretty nice to be in here. Thank you for all the support. We've seen it. It's gotten better. We're in
Yeah,
our mid-season form.
we
We're
are.
here.
I do appreciate, and just some housekeeping stuff. We do have like some more graphics up on YouTube. Thank you to all the wonderful people at Inside the Rink, especially the people at the Broom Spenders podcast. If you want to listen to something a little bit more refined, much more popular than we are. They're with Inside the Rink too, and they're doing wonderful things and helping us with our graphics. So big shout out to them. And yeah, I mean, this week was a little bit more of a odd episode. It hung a little bit longer than it normally does. It wasn't up at the normal time. It might be a couple days before you see this because I got to get some writing out so that you guys can actually see this. But we are out on YouTube. We are on Twitter. You guys can give us a follow there if you want to be up to date with when we post. We respond to pretty much everything. So yeah, we just want to say thank you guys officially, and again, we hope to see you guys next week. Any final thoughts?
Oh, you know what? Before we go, um, we didn't do this last week because we had a guest and I actually forgot. We got to do our predictions for this week.
Oh yeah, sure. Okay.
For this week, there's three games that we're probably going to talk about before we record on the Sunday. We got the Predators, we got the Lightning, and we got the Bruins. For this week, I'm gonna say a big 3-0. I believe in a 3-0. The Predators
I
they haven't gotten a good start. They beat the Lightning earlier, and I think they can beat the Bruins. So we'll see.
Yeah, that's a tough one. You need to win the divisional games. You need to beat Boston and Tampa pretty much. Like you play back to back against Boston. You need to win. You need to win some of those games like big time. Um, I think they get the Nashville game because there's a fire under their ass. Tampa might punch them in the mouth though. Tampa's like red hot right now. I think they win against Nashville. They win one of the two games against either Boston or Tampa Bay. Hopefully Tampa Bay, because if you lose to Boston, you can get it back the next day, and we can be on the episode talking about that. So I'll say 2-1. You got 3-0, and again, hopefully you're right, and we can talk about it next week. Hopefully there'll be a little bit less anger towards that stupid Siegenthaler hit. Fine him. Fine him. Actually, that's not true. If I see an NHL suspension for Jonas Siegenthaler, but we didn't get the penalty in the game, I want the refs on death row. Put him up there with the Confer Antichrist comments. We're spreading hate this week.
If he does that, Alex will talk about it in the intro. I'll make sure of it.
Yeah,
We're gonna talk about
we'll
it.
do another Confer. My mom was like, "Do you think the players watch this?" I was like, "Not us." I was like, maybe another podcast. Like, I don't know. Like I can't imagine they would. I can't
If
imagine
they get
JT
that
Compher
popular,
thinks what
we'd probably get death threats by their family.
we
We talk
probably would.
bad about some of the players in this
Yeah,
team. We
we
don't
get.
mean it. We love all the people on this team.
Yeah,
We
like
need
don't get
some
me wrong.
like
I hope they do good, but like
hey,
until
we
you
need some
do,
Michael Rasmussen now.
yeah, you're
We're a
gonna
Michael
get.
Rasmussen hate podcast.
We might
That's
be,
what we are.
dude. The Pope's gonna get a vision of the Antichrist at the Vatican. It's gonna be a ginger man who wears number 37 for the Red Wings. So it's gonna make the news. You guys keep a lookout. Um, thank you guys for keeping with us. Bullshit aside, and yeah, we hope to see you guys again next week. So peace out.